captives, exiled from the land of Israel more than 2,700 years ago by the Assyrian Empire. Despite being cut off from the rest of the diaspora Jewish people, the Bnei Menashe continue to preserve the ways of Jewish tradition, including observing Shabbat and maintaining kosher dietary rules. The chief rabbinate initially did not consider them, though, to be Jewish. Their immigration was halted for many years. 15 years ago, the then Sephardic chief rabbi formally recognized them, but a formal conversion process was still required after Aliyah. So far, about 2,500 Bnei Menashe members have made Aliyah in the last 2 decades, but thousands more remain in India. With us now is Michael Freund, who is the founder of Shavei Yisrael, which is the group that helped pay for and organize this charter flight that brought hundreds of the Bnei Menashe community into Israel days ago. Thank you so much for being with us. Tell me about this community now. Where are they in Israel? What are they doing to adjust to their new life here?
Sure, and thanks. It's great to be with you. The Bnei Menashe live spread out in more than 15 communities throughout Israel. Most of the immigrants who have come over the past decade have settled in the Galil, in the Galilee in the north, in places such as Ma'alot, Tiberias, Akko, Beit Sha'an, and Nof HaGalil, and elsewhere. Their absorption, thank God, has been very successful. Most of the younger generation speaks English, is familiar with Western ways, and they're a very dedicated and determined group of people who want to succeed and who want to give back to this country and help strengthen the Jewish state.
Tell me about the controversy about this community. I mean, now they are considered Jewish, but they still have to go through a formal conversion over the process of the rabbinate. Explain the background, perhaps, to that dilemma.
Well, let me just clarify that the Bnei Menashe are considered by many to be descendants of Israel, Zera Yisrael, which is to say that they were cut off from the rest of the Jewish people for more than 2,700 years. Their ancestors were exiled towards the end of the First Temple period. As a result, the rabbinate requires them to go through a formal conversion process when they come to Israel, and that's exactly what happens. And in doing so, it removes any doubt about their personal status. They are just as Jewish once they complete the conversion as you or me.
Tell me about the atmosphere when this plane landed. I know that Shavei Yisrael was in contact with this community for years and helped make this flight possible. What was the atmosphere like? What was the mood like for these families?
Well, thank God it was the first group of Bnei Menashe immigrants to arrive in the past 2.5 years, and for the first time, they arrived all together as one group on an El Al flight that we chartered especially for them, which brought them directly from India. Of course, it generated a great deal of excitement within the community. There are a lot of very moving personal stories about families that were divided for many years, about grandparents who had never met their Israeli-born grandchildren and were at last reunited with them. And it also raised the hope that in the coming years, we will, God willing, be able to bring the remainder of the community to Israel. And I just want to point out that this Operation Menashe would not have been possible had it not been for the determination and the hard work of Israel's Aliyah and Absorption Minister, Panina Tamano-Shate, who literally from the day she took office, took the issue of the Bnei Menashe in hand and did everything possible to obtain the necessary approvals for this group to make Aliyah. So we are very grateful to her for that.
And very excited that this group is now here in Israel, adjusting to life as Israeli citizens. Michael, thank you so much for being with us today. Appreciate your time.
Thanks. There's still another 6,500 Bnei Menashe in India waiting to come, and we are determined to bring them home.